Welcome to Nouk's Fitness Podcast. My name is Nouk, and after having struggled with my body image and my fitness journey for more than 10 years, leading me to all sorts of extremes, I have now finally cracked the code on how you can achieve a fit and toned physique without extremes and restrictions. Now, being a certified nutritionist and personal trainer, I have made it my mission to help women achieve their body goals by feeling empowered through fitness instead of being afraid of foods and being controlled by the fitness industry. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you tried and true methods on how you can finally achieve your dream body and tell you the secrets most coaches won't. So if you are tired of working your ass off without getting results, or you feel like you're putting in all the work but not seeing change in the mirror, this podcast is for you. I will be dropping some fitness truth bombs so you can start taking control of your body goals while still enjoying life. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, beautiful. I am so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to be going on this podcast today with you. Welcome to Nouk's Fitness first ever podcast. I'm so excited that I'm doing this. I've been thinking about doing this for the last few months, and today I decided to bite the bullet. And that's because I've been working on social media for quite a while on my Instagram. If you don't follow me already, you can go to @Nouk, that's my full name, and you can find me there. And I decided, you can only get to know so much about a person through Instagram. And I feel we can connect a little bit better over a podcast, over me speaking in a more long form manner, because I always feel like I have to cram in so much information and so much into 1.5 minutes of a reel. And I want to get to know you guys better, and I want you to get to know me better. So here I am on my first podcast, and let's begin by getting to know each other a little bit better. First of all, I want to thank you for tuning in today. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm so excited to be doing this form of content, and I already have a feeling I'm going to love it so much. So if you are new here, and if you have not heard of me already, or you don't follow me, or you don't know anything about me, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Nouk, and as you heard in the intro, I've been in the fitness space for over a decade, and I've struggled so much with body image and achieving my body goals. And I have decided to make it my mission to get rid of all this fitness industry BS and give you the real details on how you can finally start transforming your body without restrictions and without having to go to extremes, because it isn't necessary. And believe me, I've been there, and we don't need to go there. It's actually gonna really cause you a lot of harm if you stay in this cycle of extremes and of diets. So let's stop that, and let's find a way that you can sustainably start seeing change in your body and be proud of what you see in the mirror, because that's my aim. That is what I want to give you, and that is my mission. From woman to woman especially, I know how hard it is to feel comfortable in your own skin, to feel proud of what you see in the mirror. And I think that is such a big thing for us women especially. And that is why I'm so passionate about this topic. And that is why I feel like I need to share more with you instead of just my reels and get to know you a little bit more. So here we are. So as I said, I've been in the fitness space for over 10 years, more like 15 years. And I started out, I think, working out in my teens, but my journey started way before that. I think when my hormones hit and your body starts transforming, that's when, that body image, that self-image starts kicking in. And that is really where my journey began. I was very young when we moved abroad. So I'm a Dutchie. I'm a Dutch girl. But as you can hear, I have a very American accent, and that's because I've moved abroad my whole life. And it maybe even started when we moved to the Philippines, and I was 6 when we moved there. So I'm going to take you way, way back. And when I moved to the Philippines, I was one of the tallest girls there, and I was only 6. And I lived there up until like when I turned 10. So for about 4 years, we lived there. And through that phase, I grew. And I also got a little bit chubbier around that time. But apart from the fact that I was chubbier, I was one of the taller girls. I was taller than some adults already living in the Philippines. And I think that's where a lot of my insecurities already started, because I was the biggest girl, and maybe not only in size, it's not that I was that big, but I was the tallest girl. So being big was always an issue for me. It always felt like, I felt uncomfortable. I felt too large. I felt out of place. I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. And that's, I think, where it all began, if I really, really go back. And so we moved around a lot. And I think in my teens, we moved to Africa, just to give you a little backstory. And that's when my teens kind of hit. And I am a massive sweet tooth. I am such a sweet tooth. And I feel like I didn't realize until later on, but apparently I was a sweet tooth from the start. And so as my hormones hit, as a young girl, you start transforming, your body starts changing. And so I started picking up weight. And this is when it all kind of began. So because of all the moving around, I'm going to give you a real backstory. I struggled with OCD from a very young age. I won't go into too much detail. I think I might dedicate another podcast to that. But I felt out of control because we were living abroad, and I think my environment was changing so regularly that I tried to find control in different ways. So I had OCD, and maybe not in the cleaning way, but in the routine type of way. So that is definitely a factor in my fitness journey and in my body image journey. That's where it kind of began. And I started picking up weight because I was snacking a lot. And my mom noticed this, and bless her, because she was just trying to help me. But in my teens, that's when the fitness journey began, without me even going to the gym. Your body image starts kicking in, and my mom decided to put me on Weight Watchers. I feel like everybody that starts their fitness journey starts it with Weight Watchers. And although I don't know if I have anything really bad to say about Weight Watchers, it made me hyper aware of nutrition. Then we moved again, and from age 14 to 15, I lost 12 kilos. I started swimming a lot. I was a very good swimmer. I started swimming a lot, and that's when the obsession sort of kicked in. So why I brought up my OCD is because I believe that partially my obsessive compulsive disorder, that's what OCD stands for, started transforming into a eating disorder and obsessive eating disorder, and also into fitness. And yeah, I think even if you might not have OCD, you will still maybe identify with my story. So yeah, it kicked in my teens, and it was after I started joining Weight Watchers, and then I started swimming, and I lost a lot of weight. I realized I started getting a lot of compliments, and my body started transforming, and it made me feel good, of course. But my eating, I can't really recall what I was doing at the time. I think I was just really steering clear of a lot of foods, and it really progressed when I turned 16. When I turned 16, the obsession kicked in even more, and to the point where it was in the gray area of an eating disorder, because I was not that skinny that people would call me anorexic, but I was doing weird things. I was, not eating lunches. Instead of eating a regular snack, I decided to eat carrots, any snack that I had, because I thought if I just replaced all my snacks with carrots, I would 100% lose weight. To the point where my skin literally started turning yellow. You could ask anybody in my school. A girl in my class actually asked me, "Why is your skin so yellow?" And that was because I was replacing most of my meals with carrots. Don't ask me where I got that information, but I got it somewhere. And I was skipping meals. I was hiding certain things. I was obsessively training. So if I were to eat something that was not quote unquote healthy in my imagination. I don't even know where I got the information from, to be very honest with you. I would obsessively do things to get rid of the extra calories that I'd eaten. So I would run up and down the stairs. I would go into my room and I would start doing sit-ups in my room. Anything. It was based on nothing, but anything to make me feel like I could get rid of whatever I ate that was not within my diet. To be very honest with you guys, I was very, very, very ugly towards myself in the mirror. And I don't know if any of you can identify with this, but I had moments where I would, stand and look at myself in the mirror and grab pieces of myself that I was unhappy with. I would grab them. I would insult myself. I would say, I wish I could just cut this all off, like the fatty pieces of me. And my mom started getting concerned and even brought me to an eating disorder clinic at some point. That's how bad it got, guys. That's how bad it got. So I never really ended up really doing anything with that. Yes, I did go see psychologists, but that was mainly to do with my OCD and other things as a teenager, struggling with a lot of things. In the meantime, we had moved back to Amsterdam, to the Netherlands, and it was hard being a teenager there. And I had lost a lot of weight in the meantime. And then, to be very honest with you, I'm not really sure what happened, but I do remember going to gyms and working out and trying to find the best method, searching everywhere for the best method to tone up or to lose fat or to start looking like a Victoria's Secret model. That was my aim. I wanted to look like that. That's the body type I was going for. And at the time, thank goodness, we didn't have social media, but we had the Cosmopolitan, girls magazines, things like that. And that's where I got my information. So I read that, Victoria's Secret models would do a lot of jump rope, and that's how they got their body. So I ended up going to the gym and doing jump rope. And then I would go to instructors in the gym and ask them, hey, what's the best way to lose fat? How should I be training? So literally, believe me when I tell you, I tried it all. Anything and everything that would get me one step closer to being skinnier, that would get me one step closer to being toned, even though I didn't even know what toned meant. So that's where the spiral just kept going. Yeah, it was a very unhealthy relationship. I was being controlled by food. I was fearful of eating certain foods, and I didn't have any information to back it up. I had read somewhere that eating more than one egg would make you fat. So I was like, I am definitely not eating more than one egg. I would panic if I ate a brownie, and I would want to get it out of my system as quickly as possible by either working out, even maybe throwing it up, whatever I could do to get it out of my system or to make up for the bad thing that I had done. So it was a very, very unhealthy relationship, and I was not happy in my body or comfortable or confident. Yeah, this went on for a while. I think into my 20s, it settled a little bit. My relationship with food was not great and training, but I was figuring it out. And then I went to university, and that's where my passion for strength training started existing. I started doing more research on it. I went to the gym maybe 3 times a week. So it wasn't very excessive, but I was obsessive about it. I can tell you that. And still, food was all over the place. And I didn't understand why I was not losing weight, or my body wasn't transforming the way I wanted it to transform, when I felt like I was doing everything that I could to transform my body. I felt like I was watching my nutrition. I felt like I was training hard. I was drinking protein shakes. I even was scared of drinking protein shakes at first because I was like, oh my God, this is going to make me fat. And then I realized I chose the lean, the non-fat versions of everything that I ate. And I still was not seeing the results that I wanted. So fast forward, I'm not going to keep you guys here too long. So fast forward, let's just sum up that it was a very unhealthy relationship. I felt completely lost, frustrated, confused. Why was everything that I was doing not working? I was not confident in my own skin. I was extremely ugly towards myself. Yeah, very horrendous. When you think about it, the things that you say to yourself, sometimes you got to ask yourself the question, would you say those things to your best friend or to your daughter or to your son? And if the answer is no, then why are you saying it to yourself? That's always something that gets me. And when I think back at how I was behaving towards myself, it's terrible. And if you're in that place now, we're going to get you out of there. And you should always be kind to yourself and kind to your body. And I really realize that now. And I wish I can give everybody the knowledge that I have now so that, you don't have to go through that anymore. And that's what we're going to be doing in this podcast. So basically, let me take you back to when everything sort of started changing. So I moved back to Amsterdam. So I studied in the UK. Yeah, I've been all over the place. And I moved back to Amsterdam, got my first job, still struggling with nutrition and training and uncomfortable in my own body and lost. Let's just say lost. And I met a friend, and my friend, she was very into fitness. I actually ran into her in the gym because I was still going to the gym. My workouts were not really based on anything. They were just something that I'd read. I was still very lost. I was just doing random exercises. It wasn't really based on anything. This friend of mine, her boyfriend at the time was a bodybuilder. So he was finalizing his personal training certificate and he needed to write a thesis on bringing someone to the top. So the idea was born that I was going to compete in a bodybuilding competition because I was like, you know what? I want to start transforming my body. Let's see what happens. So I did it. And I was always very negative about my body. I thought, my body was the way it was and it was never going to change because that's just how I was built. My biggest insecurity were my legs. And I was like, there is no way that my legs are going to be small. It's just not happening. I remember even saying that to my friend. I was like, I'm never going to be able to wear small. It's just not happening. So fast forward, I started following a bodybuilding diet and a bodybuilding workout routine. And when I tell you, I was shocked at how my body started transforming. And listen, here's where my OCD kicked in for sure, because I was so obsessive. I was like a robot, getting through my workouts, following my diet. And again, this was not healthy because I was so obsessive that I could not think of anything else than the competition, than my nutrition, than my workouts. And I remember being at a barbecue and people were talking and having fun conversations. I didn't feel like I could join in because my brain was only thinking about training and nutrition. Training and nutrition, that's all I could think about. And making sure that I wasn't eating anything out of my diet. That is all that I could think about. It paid off in a way that, my body transformed. I never in a million years thought my body could be as ripped as that it was. I thought it was impossible. That is when I realized. So there's two things that I learned from this experience. If you've ever seen me on social media or if you follow me for a while, you've seen some of my pictures from my bodybuilding days. And this is not at all to promote bodybuilding. It is actually the opposite, but it's given me tools. And I'm going to explain to you what these tools were. But when I tell you that this was a crazy transformation, I am not lying. By the time I was at the competition, so when I was going to pose on stage. So basically, when you think of bodybuilding, sorry, I should have clarified this at the beginning. A lot of people think of big, strong men, right? And when you think of a bodybuilding female, you think of these giant steroided women. I was in the bikini fitness section. How do you say that? Bikini fitness section. And so it was more feminine. I was very slim and muscular. So extremely lean, but very malnourished, very, very, very malnourished. I can tell you that. Yeah. So basically on the day of my competition, I had 9% body fat. And just to give you a little bit of frame of reference, women are supposed to be around 20% body fat, 20 to 25. I was 9%, and that is extremely low for women. And my hormones were also no longer functioning. I no longer had a period. My mood was also off. And to give you a little glimpse of what kind of a diet I was following, I don't know if I should because I don't want you to go do it, but it was basically fish and vegetables. That's what I was eating. And when I calculated the calories that I was eating, it was, I think, 1,200 or less. And please, if you're listening to this, do not follow that diet. Do not do it because it's going to do more harm than good in the long run. And I'm going to tell you why. So yeah, my body transformed. It's safe to say my body transformed. And there were a couple of takeaways from that. The takeaway that I got and the thing that I learned that I can teach you is that you're capable of way more than that you think of. And that when you tackle your training and nutrition in the right way, you can 100% transform your body. It has nothing to do whether your body is just built like that. Yes, there are some genetic factors, but you will be surprised at what you're capable of. However, and the however is a big one, these crash diets and these extreme workouts are extremely unhealthy for your body. Extremely unhealthy for your body. And I learned that in the aftermath. First of all, your mental health takes a toll because you can't, as a woman, stay that lean and that low fat. And because my build is not like that, especially I cannot stay that lean. Or if you're curvier or if you're a bit fuller, most women cannot stay that lean. So my hormones were all out of whack. After that, I had to discover how I needed to find a balance again. And the aftercare is the big part because you can't maintain that look for the rest of your life. So if you see female trainers or fitness influencers online and they look that lean, there could be two things going on. They are either in prep or getting prepared for a bodybuilding competition, or they're using supplements so that they can stay that lean. And these are unhealthy supplements. And I don't want any of you aspiring to stay that way because it's not healthy for your body. And I found out the hard way. And what I mean by that is after my competition, I sort of fell into a black hole because I had been working for a year towards that goal. And I'd stayed in a calorie deficit like that for a year, 9 months. I was eating in a calorie deficit on an extreme diet and stressing my body with extreme workouts. So when I finalized that competition, I fell into a black hole because what was my purpose now? What do I do now? I've achieved that. What do I do now? So I started diving deep into nutrition. And in the meantime, prepping for my bodybuilding competition, I also decided to become a nutritionist because it was driving me insane, the diet that I was following. I was really struggling to stick to this diet, and my mental wellness was not at a good place. I felt like I couldn't enjoy social events anymore. I was afraid of eating any food that was outside of my diet. And I thought, this is no way to live. There has to be a different way, and there is a different way. So we'll get to that. But I was following an extremely old school bodybuilding diet that my coach at the time had picked up somewhere. And that's no shade to him at all. He did a great job as best as he could with his knowledge. He believed that and it got me results. But you don't realize the impact it has on your body in the aftermath. So in the aftermath, your body, so what happens? I'm going to give you a little background. So what happens is there's no such thing as starvation mode. So starvation mode doesn't exist. It's not that you start gaining weight for eating too little. That is not a thing. That does not happen. But what does happen is your metabolism starts slowing down. So me being in a calorie deficit for a year, really fucked up my metabolism. Let's just say it how it is. It really fucked up my metabolism. So so you got to see it like this. If you eat 2,000 calories a day and you stay at the same weight, that means your maintenance is at 2,000 calories. But your body is smart. So if you're in a calorie deficit for very long, so take me, I was in a calorie deficit of 1,200 calories for over a year. So my body had adapted. My body had adapted to 1,200 calories now being my new maintenance, which means if I wanted to lose more weight, I would need to eat less than 1,200 calories. And so you go down this rabbit hole where you're going to end up eating 5 calories a day. That's not healthy. So I needed to build up my calorie intake. So what I did, I slowly increased my calories and I started gaining weight because that's what happens. My metabolism had slowed down. My body had taken a hit. It was very stressed out and it was gaining weight, not as quickly as some girls do after a bikini fitness competition, but it started gaining weight. And my body image, my self-image was so messed up that I started freaking out. I started freaking out because I started looking fat in my eyes. Believe me, girl, when I tell you, when I look back at those pictures from that time, I was ripped. I was still ripped. And I thought I was fat at the time. My mental health, my body image, it was so messed up that I started freaking out again. And I was like, I need to start eating less immediately. So I planned my next competition. And this time I was going to do it differently because I'd done my research and I didn't need to eat fish and veg to achieve my goals. I just needed to eat 1,200 calories and hit my protein goal. So what I did is I did that. I designed my own diet. I spoke to my coach and we worked on it. And I mean, it was a struggle. So I had really, I was still looking great, but it was a battle to lose weight. It was a battle because my body was so stressed out. It was so damaged from my bikini fitness competition, that my first one, that it was like pushing a boulder up a hill trying to lose weight. Because my metabolism was messed up. My body was messed up. Everything, my hormones were totally out of balance. Totally out of balance. And this all has to do with one another. My cortisol levels were probably too high. Everything was messed up. So my body was not responding the way it did the first competition. And I was pulling all my tricks out of the bag. I was doing cardio twice a day for an hour and then training weights for an hour. So that was me training 3 hours a day and eating in a calorie deficit of 1,200 calories, and my body was barely budging. It was barely budging. And that is because my body had adapted to such low calories that it would have to take so much work for me to lose weight. On top of that, I was stressing out my body to such extremes that my body was just not responding anymore. And I was exhausted and something clicked. I competed. I didn't win a thing because I didn't look half as lean as my first competition. I mean, I look good, but I didn't look half as lean as my competition. It took another toll on my body image, my self-image. I felt large, I felt fat, you name it, that's how I felt. And again, looking back at those pictures, I looked incredible. My self-image was just down the toilet. And this is when I decided, this isn't worth it. This is not worth it. So I made it my mission to find a way to achieve my body goals, enjoy my life, be balanced, be confident, feel sexy, feel good in my body without extremes and without restrictions. And when I tell you it was a long and hard journey, I'm not lying, but I've managed. Doesn't mean I've got my good and my bad days, but the majority of my days are good. And I feel so comfortable, the happiest I've ever been in my body. I feel like I am achieving my goals. And I'm doing this by now only training 3 to 4 times a week. And I enjoy all the foods that I once was so afraid of eating. And so that is a little clip of my story. I basically, after that competition, made it my mission. It was a tough one. Even after that competition, the panic would hit, and I decided to train 2 hours again. And instead of losing weight, my body started gaining weight. And that's because I was stressing my body out too much. And that's when I realized I needed to find a new method. I needed to give my body more of a break. I needed to respect it more and take care of my body more and understand nutrition. Because what broke me free from my self-image struggles and my obsessiveness and my restrictiveness was understanding how nutrition worked and how training worked. When I decided to become a personal trainer and actually get my certificate in personal training, and of course do my own research and realize how my body functioned and realize how nutrition worked and understand how macros work and all of that jazz, that is when I realized I had the control. I was no longer giving away my power to training and nutrition. I now had the power in my hands because I knew there was no point in training so much and restricting my diet so much. In fact, it was giving me the opposite results of what I wanted to achieve because I was not respecting my body. I was not listening to my body. And it really showed me that more is not always better. More restrictions are not always better. It's about understanding what works for your body and understanding how nutrients work. And of course, the mindset of it, understanding that you're worth it, that your body deserves respect. Instead of whipping it into shape continuously and punishing yourself for not achieving what you deem is good enough, I think that was the biggest lesson for me, giving my body a break, giving my body a little bit of respect. And on top of that, with the tools that I now have and the knowledge that I now have about training and nutrition, because I used to search for what I should be doing to get leaner, what more I should be doing, what were the models doing. And looking back now, it's not about what they're doing. It's about how you tackle your goals and what you should be doing for your body and what structured workout routine you should be following. And when I say I am now empowered through fitness, I enjoy seeing my body transform in the way that I wanted to transform. I now go out for dinners and enjoy all the foods, eat desserts without feeling bad about it, eat cookies, eat chocolate. And I have never looked/felt better in my entire life. I am telling you the truth. And my goal is to share that with you. And I hope that by hearing my story, you hear that I've been through it. I've been through it all. I've been through breakdowns in changing rooms, trying out jeans, and insulting myself because my legs were too big, to extreme diets and extreme workouts, punishing myself, to being completely ripped and competing in a bodybuilding competition, to then forcing my body to try and get back into that shape by literally making it suffer more, which was giving me the opposite results, to now finding a method and a balance to finally achieving my goals without giving away my power, without being controlled by nutrition and training, but me controlling it. And that is my mission, and that is why I do what I do. And I believe that once you understand how this all works and how you can take care of your body and respect your body and feel worthy of that. That is when you can start taking control of your body goals and start transforming your body in a good way and start moving your body and training your body so that you are stronger, so that you can feel more confident, so that it can transform the rest of your life. Not through punishment, not through restrictions, not through trying one diet after the next, just by knowing how you need to feed your body, nourish it to achieve your goals, and follow a structured workout routine so that you can start transforming your body in a positive way. Because there's so much good that training can give you and eating in the right way can give you. And I 100% believe that, but you need to be able to do it in a healthy, balanced way so that you can enjoy your life and it won't control you anymore. And that is my mission. So thank you so much for listening to my first ever podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank you for showing up and listening. And I hope I gave you some golden nuggets of information and maybe something clicked for you in this podcast. I want to let you know that I have a free challenge that you can join if you want to start transforming your mindset and your approach to training and nutrition so that you can finally feel empowered through fitness and start rocking that bikini body in a confident, strong manner without giving your power away. And if you want to join that, I will link up my free challenge in the show notes. And if you want more tips and tricks on how you can achieve your fitness goals, then you can also follow me at Nouk on Instagram. I feel like there was supposed to be a .com after that, but it's at Nouk on Instagram. And I will be happy to see you there. Anyways, beautiful. Thank you for listening. And I hope you come listen to my next podcast. Have an amazing day or evening or whatever it is for you. And see you in the next one. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and you feel like you got a lot of value out of it, it would mean the world to me if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with someone who you feel like would get a lot of value out of it. In the meantime, come hang out with me on my Instagram at Nouk or join my free challenge, which will be linked in the show notes. It's academy.nouksfitness.com/join-challenge. If you can't remember that name, check the links in the show notes, and I hope to see you there.